Hello everyone, Helen here. How are you doing? I hope you're okay and keeping well. And it's lovely to be back chatting with you again. It feels so long. It feels ages since I did this, sat down and in front of my camera and chatted to you. Yeah, anyway, welcome back to all of my regular viewers, and a big welcome if you're new as well. I live in Durham in the northeast of England. And when I'm not being a piano teacher, I am doing all sorts of creative things which I like to share with you and show you. And sometimes I'm out for walks and sometimes we're off in the camper van. So it's all sorts of things that I like to chat to you about. So welcome along everyone. And today I'm really just going to have a little chat about what I got up to in December. I had a very busy December, and I don't just mean the normal things that you're getting ready when you've got Christmas and New Year coming up, but I mean other self-inflicted things which made me even busier. So yeah, I'm going to chat to you about those today. And in fact, I was busy before December preparing my video advent calendar that I did. You might remember me saying that I had a bit of a dilemma about whether I could manage to do any kind of vlogmas or anything for last Christmas. And I really just hadn't found the time to do the same kind of vlogmases that I'd done the previous 2 years. And so, yeah, I had a big dilemma about whether to do it at all. and then I came up with the idea that I did actually carry out, and that was just to do a very short video each day. They were about 2 minutes long, not much more than 2 minutes long. And one of the things I really love to do is to read stories aloud. So that's what I chose to do. And I chose 3 folk tales that were sort of seasonal, and wrote them in my own words, because I love reading things that are in verse, that are in rhyming couplets. I just love the rhythm of them. They're really nice to read out loud. And yeah, and then I divide them into parts, and we had a little bit of a story each day. Of course, there were lots of other things that I had to do apart from sitting and writing the words before I could actually get to the videoing part. I wrote 4 little songs that were needed for various points in the story. I had to make some illustrations. I'd actually meant to draw lots of illustrations, to have illustrations for every day's story, but I didn't have time to do that. But I did have my illustration that appeared at the start of each day, and then 2 or 3 other ones that I managed to slot in. And then I had little bits of video to take, like pouring cider on the roots of a tree, and the photos I had to take. I had the little robin for the story about the robin. But that robin actually was made for me by Sarah, my daughter. She needle felted it. It was a gift the previous Christmas. So lots of photos that I had to take. I bought some candles and added a number for each day. I bought 24 little candles and put a number on for each day of Advent. But in fact, that was one of the things that didn't work about the videos, because the light levels were just a bit too low and you couldn't properly see the numbers. But never mind, I'll learn for another time. And I had to spray some pine cones silver, and all sorts. It was surprising how many little parts there were just to make some tiny little short videos. And of course I had to set up the cosy Christmas corner that I was going to sit and read in, and so that was fun to do. And what else did I do? Oh yes, I had to draw a front cover for the storybook that I was going to read from. And so I drew a front cover and stuck it onto a very old big songbook, because I wanted it to look like an old storybook. And that was another thing that I did. So lots and lots of things. And then of course I had to do all of the videos, and then lots of editing, which did take a surprising length of time actually. It did take me a long time to do that editing. But anyway, the thing is that I really enjoyed doing it, and I know that there was quite a few of you who really did enjoy it. Thank you so much if you watched and if you made any kind and appreciative comments. That was lovely. To begin with, in the first few days of Advent, I thought, oh, it's a shame there's not more people who are watching, even though I understand completely what a busy time of year it is and how many brilliant things there are to watch on YouTube. Lots and lots of people doing Vlogmas, and there were ones that I wanted to watch and I just didn't have the time for. So yes, I do understand the time pressure. But then I thought about the fact that if I gave maybe even 50 people an Advent calendar, said here you are as a gift, then that's a lot of people. And after that, I thought I stopped worrying about it, because I just know that some of you really, really enjoyed joining me each day, even though it was a really short time. So that was lovely, and it was definitely worth doing. I could list lots of things that I wasn't satisfied about the videos, but I'll not. It's like I just have to remind myself that learning to make videos is an ongoing process, and if I waited until I had something that I thought was absolutely perfect in my eye, nothing would see the light of day, would it? Because I can always pick things, that I'm not really happy with. But anyway, overall it was fine, and it definitely did keep me quite busy. And then I had my creative Advent calendars that really took up rather more time than I'd planned them to. Now, the first one wasn't too bad. I'd done it last year, which is the watercolour painting Advent calendar. So each day on YouTube, a lovely lady called Harriet from the De Winton Paper Co. YouTube channel was doing a little tutorial to paint a little miniature picture of something to do with Christmas and Christmas traditions around the world. And I knew from last year that had only taken me 10 minutes-ish each day, and it was a really lovely, slow, quiet time in each day. And so it took me a similar length of time this time, 10 to 15 minutes, and I really, really enjoyed doing that again, even though I'm not all that happy with some of the pictures that I painted, but never mind. I have to be kind to myself and say, well done, Helen, for having a go. But it had been quite a while since I'd done any painting at all, so it was lovely to have this daily incentive to just have a little bit of a practice and a play with the paints. So yeah, and I'll show you a little bit more of the Advent calendar that I painted shortly. But it was the other Advent calendar that I chose to do, which took up so much more time than I was expecting. Where I got the idea from that was only going to take me 10 to 15 minutes a day, I do not know. But I don't think it ever took me less than an hour. And this was the felt applique embroidery Advent calendar that was designed by Corinne Lapierre. You might have heard her if you've come across any little kits for making felt animals and things like that. Anyway, it was an absolutely beautiful Advent calendar, and I can highly recommend it as long as you don't mind the amount of time it takes. So each day I had to sew something. I had to cut out the shapes from felt, and then I had to sew the shape for that particular day onto a big square of felt, and gradually you were building up a scene, a woodland scene it turned out. And but I learned lots of new embroidery stitches, because I'm not really an embroiderer at all. So some simple embroidery stitches I got to practice, and just practicing being neat. And I did love it that, it's all hand sewn and you just go slowly, and it is it should be really relaxing, and I think I didn't find it so relaxing in that run up to Christmas, knowing that I had lots of other things on my list that needed to be done, and we had visitors coming to stay, and there was just the usual long lists of preparations for Christmas. But anyway, I did, by some kind of obsessive commitment, I did manage to get the felt advent calendar finished by the 28th of December. So yeah, I managed to keep up pretty well. And I am really pleased with it. I love how it looks, and it just made me excited each day. Oh, what am I going to be adding to it this day? So, and I think I'm going to either frame it or just make it into a little wall hanging that I can put up for Christmas, each year. I think it'll be lovely. So I can highly recommend it, but I'm going to try not to allow myself to buy one of these again for the next Christmas. Not unless I know that I've got absolutely masses of time to spare, which is unlikely. Yeah, so those are my advent calendars, and then I just had another couple of small projects that I made during December. There was the final gnome in the Year of Gnomes knit along that I've been doing this year, or last year, and so the December gnome still had to be made in December, and so I did a rather wintry gnome. I think when I was knitting him it was very wintry outside. We had quite a cold snap and everywhere was frosty and snowy, so yeah. So I love this one. I think this gnome's definitely one of my favourite ones. It's got a nice sparkly wool for his hat, and for his body I used a lovely hand-dyed yarn that I got in a Christmas box last year, I think, from So Raimi. Anyway, it's beautiful. I hadn't used it for anything, so I love the way that looks, and yeah, I'm really, really pleased with this final gnome, and all 12 gnomes are lined up on top of my piano at the moment, waiting for me to take a photo of them all and show you. So I'll show you them another time, all 12 of them together. So that was good. And then the other little project I did was a crochet, excuse me, a crochet fairy. I'd bought a kit, I think in November. I made a little pink crocheted fairy. It was a kit from Toft, and I thought at the time I was making a Christmas fairy, but didn't really look very Christmassy. So I made another one, which definitely looked much more Christmassy. I did her mostly in white and sparkly yarn, and I also added a bit of lace for her skirt, and a little tinsel headband as well. So she's been sitting in my Christmas tree all through Christmas, looking very Christmassy. Although I have to say I didn't quite finish her because she hasn't got any wings. So hopefully I can do that at some point. But anyway, so yeah, those are my two little projects. And I think I showed you that I'd started a new blanket, but I didn't really work on that much during December. I'm just starting to get back to it, and I'll show you how I'm getting on with that another time. So yeah, so I think that's it for projects. So if you were watching me about this time last year, you'd know that I decided to start a winter journal. So it wasn't a journal I made myself, I just bought it. So I suppose it's more of a winter scrapbook really. But I wanted to just have somewhere to record things that I didn't want to forget about winter and Christmas time really. And so I'm going to show you now. I'm going to give you a quick look through what I did last year. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, and then just show you what I've started sticking in for this year. It's not finished yet. I've got I've got quite a few more things to put in. But yeah, come and have a look at my winter journal. So this is the winter journal that I started last year, and I put in it some poems, some seasonal poems. This was the watercolour painting advent that I did last year. This was a cardboard advent calendar that I had. I gradually put things into the house ready for Christmas. I did the Christmas gnome knit along last year that Sarah Shearer ran, and yeah, here's more poems. I'm not going to spend much time on this because I have shown it in a previous podcast. A couple of birthday cards that I was made. and the pretty well-known poem, I think, there about the shortest day. So that's all that I did last year. Oh, and this as well, a recipe that had worked well, the poem. So this is this year's, and here we have my attempts at the watercolour paintings in this year's Advent calendar. It was on one A4 sheet and I had to cut it into two to fit into here. And then my felt Advent calendar, the instructions came in a booklet, and I decided to keep lots of the pictures because they were so nice and would remind me in the future of all that I did. So here was the progress of the picture each day when you added a little bit more each day. And this is the other thing, I haven't talked about this yet today, which was my tea Advent calendar, this bird and blend calendar, and there were 2 tea bags in each little box each day. So Phil and I had a lovely time, and I just can't help myself. I decided I had to record each type of tea, and we each gave it a mark out of 10 and then an average mark, and we usually had some comment or other to make. And I decided that my absolute favourite, in fact I think it was the only one that we both gave 10 marks to, was the mulled cider. It was just so nice. And I would definitely go out and buy that one there. And I think that's just about it. Yes, I've got a few photos here from our most recent campervan trip, and you can see I haven't even finished those pages yet. So I need to write some stuff, and I'll probably put a few Christmassy stickers around the place as well. And yeah, I have more yet to do in this winter journal for this year, and then which is about my video Advent calendar. And last year's Vlogmas that I did, I've made in a separate book and put it in a pocket in the back of there, so I have that to look back on as well. So yeah, so that is my winter journal so far this year. So you would have just seen in my winter journal there that I did go away in the camper van before Christmas, and it's probably not the best time to go away when you've got so much to do and visitors coming and things, but we really wanted to have a go at being away in the camper van when it was cold. It wasn't extremely cold, but it was quite cold, and we wanted to see if we would be nice and cosy in the camper van. And also it was my birthday is exactly a week before Christmas, and I just thought it would be fun to do something special for my birthday going away in the camper van. And so we had such a lovely time, and I'm going to show you what we got up to in next week's podcast. So that's going to be all about our camper van trip in that one there, so I'll not talk any more about that now. And so yeah, and I think otherwise I haven't got any plans for this new year. I haven't made any creative plans whatsoever. I think last year was the first year that I really properly realised that the 1st of January doesn't have to be the kind of start line of a race. You don't have to have everything ready on the 1st of January and off we go for the rest of the year. So I have just been easing myself gently into the year, and I'm going to talk about that as well. I did talk about it a bit last year, but I'm going to chat again and sort of show you me making a start on my new bullet journal and just sort of share my thinking process for how I feel at this time of the year. Last year it took me, much of January to really get my plans in place and sort of feel like I could go forward again. I just want to hibernate at the moment. It's so dark. I'm looking forward. I like it. I like being cosy in these, short days and long nights, but I'm looking forward to the longer days, more daylight. It'll be really lovely. Anyway, I think that's it for today. I'm gonna go now. So I hope you will keep nice and busy, take good care of yourself, and I will see you again very soon. Okay then, bye.